All right, I'm here with Brian Bartlow of Feel Like a Pro, and Brian Bartlow, Brian, you rent out 250 Ninja race bikes for customers. Why do you do this?
Well, I thought it was a good way, a good opportunity for people who do track days and/or people who do street ride, who want to get their bikes out on the track but just feel uncomfortable bringing their big bikes out on a racetrack. And these bikes are affordable to come out and have a full prepped 250 Ninja race bike for the racetrack. So it's been good so far this year, and we've had a lot of people from all over the country come out. This is our 275th rental of the year, starting in January. So in the 68th track day.
But why 250s? I mean, if you're going on a racetrack, if you're going racing, I mean, don't you want like a 600 or a 1000 so you can go really fast?
Yeah. Experienced riders should get on maybe a 600 or 750 or the bigger bikes. Running a 250 Ninja is probably the best entry-level motorcycle. They're fast, they're light, they handle good. A lot of confidence a rider can build on a 250 than they would if they were on a 600 or 750 or 1000. It takes, I'd say, with my experience in my career, it takes about 3 years of a lot of riding on a 600 to be at the top of the game on a 600 class or 750. Starting off on a smaller, lighter bike where you develop confidence, you can possibly be a top contender the next year. So definitely you can, by starting off on the smaller, lighter bikes, you can improve your mental skills, physical skills, and your confidence for sure on the smaller bike than you would on a bigger bike.
Cool. What do you people just, so what do they pick the motorcycle up somewhere, or like how does it work? They give you money and what happens?
They find out what track day they want to do or what race they want to do, because we rent to racers for AFM and Weira weekends and Willow Springs sometimes, and then we have the rentals for Pacific Track Time, Kegwin, classes with Reg Pridmore, Zoom, and any of the track providers that we do in California, we can show up to if we have enough bikes, enough riders, and everything. And so far, we've been doing a lot of Pacific Track Time, a lot of Zoom, a handful of Kegwin, and it's been really good.
So you just show so the riders just meet you at the track, and everything's provided.
And everything's provided for them.
Okay.
They don't have to pay for tires, leathers, boot, or the bikes themselves are all prepared. If they want to do a leather rental, if they need leathers and helmets, we don't do the helmet thing, but we have some leathers and some boots. But really, they just show up with their gear, and their bikes are all taken care of. The tires, the gas, pit support. We usually have a nice big pit setup, and it's been good.
Now I just had a mishap, and the bike went down. So what happens when you crash?
Well, when you fall down, you're responsible for damages. If the bike tumbles and flips and wads, that's what we had down in Southern California earlier in the year. It was about $1,600 total worth of damage, but usually they're between $300 and $500 worth of damage, which is still cheaper to rent one even if you crash than it would be if you crashed your 600 or your street bikes. Body work for a street bike, you're into at least $1,500 to replace the average street bike.
Sure.
Just to put it back to make it look nice. And so we get these bikes put back together so the next rider who comes on, they know that they have a nice, clean, sound, strong bike. Looks pretty just as it was before it went down. So the bikes, we have a mechanic, and we have a full staff actually on race weekends that takes care of everybody. And if there's a mishap, we try to get the bike back together. We're going to try getting you back out there if you feel okay. And and then we have some classroom sessions that we'll do personally, one-on-one instruction, whether it's you and I or me and the new student. So that's how that works.
And tell us about the motorcycle. Like, what do you do to the motorcycle? How is this different from a stock bike?
Well, this has the Leo Vince exhaust, and basically from the stock exhaust to the Leo Vince exhaust, we gain 2.5 horsepower. So we go from 28 to 31.5.
That's over 10%, I guess.
Yeah, and we gained another foot-pound of torque just by doing that. It's got a jet kit. It's got the carbon fiber bracket. Not all the bikes have them, but they all have some kind of little trick component on them.
Now this bike has a aftermarket shock.
Yeah,
but not all the bikes are set up like that.
No, this one has an aftermarket. This was my personal bike back from '08. Eventually, all the bikes are going to get suspension. But right now, we haven't seemed to have it. We got all steel braided lines on all the bikes and race tires, race compound brakes. We have several bikes with full data telemetry on them. So if there's specific riders who want to know more about their riding, for another fee, we have our data acquisitionist guy that comes out, and he will work with you all day and show you everything you're doing on the track, all your GPS stuff. There's onboard cameras, there's throttle, there's throttle positions, there's RPMs, brake sensors, suspension potentiometers that really let you know exactly. It's just like a Valentino Rossi bike. It's the whole thing, all the telemetry. We've got gyro cams if you want some video. And it's really, really cool stuff, and you can learn a whole lot with that data acquisition.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Where can people find out more about your business?
They can go to www.feellikeapro.com, and our website will be updated with new dates for next year. But even if there's an event that's not on there, as long as they call me and say, "Hey, Brian, I'd like to be at this track day," then we can work something out, and they can either I'll show up or we can figure out how a bike can be delivered to them. We had one guy who wanted to do 10 track days kind of in a row, and he just picked the bike up and kept it for 10 track days. So he kept it for a couple of months, and I was okay with that, so that was good as long as he had the bike ready to go at the race when we showed up at an AFM event. So that's another option.
All right. Cool. Well, thanks for having me, and sorry I crashed your bike.
Okay, man.